Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today I'm going to give you a very quick and down-to-earth review, or better said comparison, of the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro Wireless White and the Logitech G502X Lightspeed Plus Wireless, something of the sort. And I'm going to also introduce into this comparison the mouse I have been using recently for the past almost 4 years. I bought this one somewhere in 2019. I think it was August 2019. This is the Razer Lancehead Tournament Edition White, when naming schemes were a bit shorter, but not by much. Now, what you need to understand before we get into anything is that a mouse is a subjective thing. 100% it's going to depend on you, your use case scenario, what you like, what don't you like, how exactly are you going to be using the product. So my experience to yours may not be all that relevant, which is why I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory on me, just so you understand exactly if my experience with these products should in any way relate to yours. One thing that I will point out, you see this is flickering, this is just on camera. Okay, the Razer does not flicker, this is just on camera, and I'm not exactly sure why that is, but that's not important. What is important is the actual mice per se. Let's talk a bit about my preference and what exactly do I use these mice for. For everything, for the most part. I use them for work, for video editing, photo editing, audio editing, essentially anything that has a big timeline, I'm gonna be using them on. When it comes to games, I play games such as Warframe a whole lot, or I play Diablo, or I play Ori and the Blind Forest, Forza. In essence, it's a pretty varied selection, from ARPGs to MMOs to shooters, essentially everything. The mouse needs to play everything, it needs to do it right, and it also needs to be good when it comes to productivity, because I do not feel like using multiple mice for the same setup, though that is something that you can do for optimal efficiency. Now, when I set up one of these mice, I set up a DPI that I'm comfortable with, and I use that across everything. I do not change DPI from game to game. I do not use very low DPI and go like this. No, that's something that I do not enjoy doing. Normally, this is my mouse control. This is it. This is my comfort zone, no more, no less than this. I am not a professional FPS player or anything of the sort where you need to set a very low DPI and just like have a seizure on your mouse pad. That is something that I do not enjoy doing. That said, all of these are doing a fantastic job when it comes at tracking. Since we're on the subject, unfortunately the weakest out of the bunch from my subjective personal experience, even though I set it up exactly like the others and I tried to customize the setting to its own individual sensor, is the Razer Basilisk V3 Pro. Unfortunately to me, this one simply feels like, how can I describe this one? Like an elephant on roller skates. Don't get me wrong, it's extremely responsive and it can be precise, but it feels wild. Bear in mind that I have upgraded the firmware and the latest version of software for both of these mice, so that shouldn't be an issue. However, it should be said that the current version of Razer Synapse does not function right with the scroll wheel. Unfortunately, this scroll wheel has one of the best features I have ever seen. It can unlock itself automatically into this free spin mode, which is fantastic for working with spreadsheets, fantastic for working with timelines. But right now, unfortunately, the Razer Synapse, the latest software, doesn't really function so well with it. Sometimes it works and unlocks automatically by itself, and sometimes it simply does not. Like right now, it refuses to work. That's not important, since I'm sure that Razer will iron out all of these software issues. And of course, I'm using firmware version 1.1 or whatever was the latest. I installed it last night. So it is possible that this one might have some software glitches. As it is now, no matter how I set it, no matter how I play with it, it simply feels a little bit imprecise to me. As for the feel in the hand, this is pretty good. Now I have medium-ish to small hands, I want to say, and as you can see, this is my preferred position on the mouse. It's most gamers, or when you see online all sorts of reviews, you say, hey, there's a claw grip, there's a fingertip grip, and there's a palm grip. I use something in between for the most part, if these descriptions are to be believed. So again, when it comes to buying a mouse, you gotta hold it in your hand first, make sure that it's working for you. This is my preferred grip for the mouse, this is it. This is how I use it, and unfortunately I can't really reach this button all that well. Now of course I gotta shift grip, and if I shift grip, then all of this goes out the window. I'd rather not be using this, and you can disable this button, but as I did, it's normally a low DPI shift when you low DPI and you headshot better. Because you know, going for low DPI certainly makes you a better player. Not important. What is important is that this cannot be swapped out like you can on the Logitech. As you can see, it's already gone, even though I do reach this one better. When it comes to the comparison between these two, you need to understand this is subjective. Yes, even though my hand fits better on this one and I can even reach this little button without having to shift as much, I chose not to use it for the time being while I get used to the actual product. Back to this one, the buttons here are a little bit out of the way, more so in the case of the lance head, since this is the one I've been used to. Obviously, it's going to be hard to compare to something that you have been using for the past 3-4 years. Of course, this one fits me like a glove. I'm used to using this one, and I have been using this one every single day for the past, again, 3.5 years, something of the sort. And just for a second, I want to show you how this one looks after such heavy use. This is the only issues it's got. Now, granted, I really like to take care of my stuff, so I clean them properly, regularly. I never let them get all gunked up. These were not clean just for the purposes of the review. Normally, this is how I keep my peripherals because I do care about them. Nobody send them to me. I pay them with my own money and all whatnot. Now, I will say, with the Basilisk, there is a transformation that goes on when you plug in the cable. This is the cable that you get for the Basilisk. This is a very high quality, white, beautiful braided cable, and I love this cable. I wish I could keep this cable. This is an amazing cable, and when I plug it in, something happens. I don't know what exactly, because the settings are the same, and I know for a fact that wireless versus wired nowadays is basically the same thing when it comes to responsiveness, so I'm not going to be losing anything there. It is possible simply that I'm used to a cable being there. Yes, so I'm used to add that little bit of an anchor point on the top of the mouse. But when I plug it in, it definitely feels a whole lot better to me. Again, I don't think there's some kind of more responsiveness or anything of the sort. It's possible there may be a software glitch somewhere, or I'm just simply used to having a cable. On the other hand, that argument goes out the window when I use this one. Because with this one, I felt at home as soon as I put my hand on it and started clicking. You know, one of the first things that I do, and I hit refresh. You right click and you hit refresh. Did you guys do that a whole lot to see how the mouse actually feels? Granted, it's not a very scientific way of testing, but it simply feels right in the hand. I feel precise. I never overshoot, undershoot, or anything of the sort. It just feels right to me. The shape feels better. Even though when it comes to the shape, they're very similar. Obviously, Razer kind of borrowed the G502's shape. The original G502 was a smash success, but I think the Light Hero something was a bit better. I have the original. I'm going to show it to you later. So yes, so I round out the Razer battery life for this one. I wanted to hammer it. I want to see exactly how much you can handle. So essentially, this can do basically a full day with RGB always on, brightness to maximum. And at the end of the day, it had about 40% remaining. So again, everything to maximum, all RGB on all the time, brightness to 100%, and polling rate set to 1000. You can set it to 4000 if you buy a separate dongle. I'm not gonna do that. 1000 is more than plenty. And again, on a personal note, this doesn't feel good enough to me. And I'm also missing the buttons on the side on this part. Like this one had these, which are very weird and awkward to use, granted, but over the years I kind of got used to clicking it like that. I can drop an ammo pad or something like that in Warframe. I know it's a weird thing, but again, everything you hear in this review will be entirely subjective. I love this mouse. I think it is the most beautiful mouse I have ever seen. And the RGB element on it, oh my god. I have not seen a better implementation of RGB. The underglow that you get with this one is so beautiful. I love it. Why did you have to go for glossy black? Glossy black is a terrible idea on something that you're going to be keeping your hand on. It's insta smudge. As soon as you get it out of the packaging, you can wash your hands, do whatever you want, insta smudge, no question. So the choice of doing it with black glossy plastic, while it may offer a really nice contrast, it's not exactly the smartest of ideas. The clicks sound different. These are their new optical mechanical, I don't know, some marketing thing. Optical mechanical switches that are rated to last you 15 lifetimes or something of the sort. Listen. It's different. It's different from my old one, which I think these were still Omron switches. I might be mistaken. You hear that? Now for the Logitech. I'll be honest, this one sounds the cheapest. This one definitely sounds the cheapest, a little bit hollow. It's like it's ringing. It's like there's a little bit of an echo inside the actual mouse casing. It's weird. But again, when it comes to the feel, this one feels better in hand. What else is there to say? I talked about battery life. I talked about the beautiful RGB. I talked about the materials used. Oh yes, the materials, the finish on this one. This is a very coarse finish, okay? It's not a bad feeling, but this one, on their old mouse, I mean, listen. You get what I'm saying? This is fine and it feels beautiful, and this one is coarse and it feels less beautiful. This one again is fine, just like the old Razer, the Lancet. Yes, this feels nice. This feels premium. This feels better as a finish. Not that I mind the coarse finish on this one, it's just something to bear in mind. Also, you got rubber on the side, it does not bother me. Rubber on the side does not bother me. Rubber on the side after so many years and so many hours of gameplay, and it's still fine. There's nothing wrong with rubber on the side. You sweat a lot? Get a plastic mouse. Because the rubber will make you sweat more, and of course, gamer gunk is a thing, gentlemen. There's no need to hide from it, ladies. You too, everybody makes a little bit of gamer gunk now, don't they? What else is there to say? That's pretty much it for the Razer. Let's talk a bit more about the Logitech now. The Logitech, again, first time I held it in my hand, I was like, okay, this is nice. There's one minor exception to the whole nice feeling. The right click on this one feels too elevated in the sense that the position of the button to me feels a little bit too high. Like it's like this and it should have been more like that. It's weird. I do not have that issue on the Razer. On the Razer, the position, the height of the right click, which I use it a whole lot more because I play MOBAs and ARPGs, Lost Ark, Diablo 4, etc., is very important to me because they go like this. Yes, you play a MOBA, you go like this. You get it? It's something that you do out of reflex. The right click on this one feels better simply because of the elevation. This is simply too high, a little bit too high for me. Outside of that, I can't really fault it. This one also has one of those free roaming scroll wheels, and my wife loved these features a whole lot more than I do because she works with spreadsheets a whole lot more. On this one, it feels cheaper than the Razer. Even though the wheel itself feels more substantial, the left and right click are a lot more mushier. Oh, that is crisp. That is crisp. Logitech, take note. That is crisp. This is mushy. This is crisp. This is mushy. You get it? Now, also, when you engage not that on the Razer you should, oh, did it work now? No, it still doesn't work. The free spin thing. Again, it's a software glitch. It's a known thing. I read about it online. I did a bit of research. But when you disengage it and re-engage it, it feels more like a software switch and then a mechanical thump. Listen. Cool, huh? Love it. On the Logitech, it's a physical switch, a mechanical through and through. You get it? Which is better, I don't know, but I'm guessing this one might be more prone to breaking than this one. I know we have had this type of scroll wheel before on a lot of Logitech mice and it has never caused an issue, and I do love the fact that it is there. But Logitech, if you need to steal something from Razer, you need to steal this software idea that when you flick a little bit harder, it goes to free roam mode. You need to take that and implement it into yours as well. That is definitely fantastic. I love it for that. When it works, that is, when it works, of course. RGB! You guys love RGB, right? The RGB implementation on this one is... Listen, if I never saw this one, I thought it would be fine, but honestly, as it is, the RGB implementation, if you care for such things on this one, is pretty weak sauce. Yeah, it's not that fantastic. It doesn't even come close to the awesomeness of this one. You know what? I think even this one might be significantly better, the old one, my old mouse, simply because these light strips on the side, you can make some really, really cool rainbow dash effects and all whatnot. And this one, you just have this here. It's not all that fantastic. You even have it here on the scroll wheel, just like this one has it on the scroll wheel. This one's got nada. Their logos all lighten up and, you know, cool. This one doesn't. This one has, and look how bright the logo is on this one. I know, again, it's a subjective thing if you care or not, but I do care because I do like to match everything with the RGB and all whatnot, obviously. So yes, the RGB implementation is weak sauce on this one, and the price between the two is awfully similar in the sense that I was able to pay the exact same amount for both. Okay, granted, minus, like, the difference was like half a euro or €2. No, like less than a euro, the price difference between the two. And what you get in the box is essentially the same thing with both. So why don't we talk about the box and their contents a bit more? Before we do that, however, I just pulled out some of my old mice. This is the SteelSeries rifle. This is the SteelSeries Sensei. Incidentally speaking, the old Sensei form factor. Oh yeah, like meeting an old friend. This, I believe, still the best shaped for a mouse ever. I used the crap out of this one, as you can plainly see, and before this one I used the previous version that was branded. Remember when Diablo 3 came out, they did a Diablo 3 version for this one. I also used that one till the coating essentially wore off. It's still functional, I just don't know where that mouse is. Did I throw it out? I don't think so, because it was still functional. The original, and I mean the original G502, dirty. Yes, dirty, my friends, because I wasn't the one that used this one. This was used by my old boss, and as you can see, it does have a little bit of gunk and all whatnot. And yeah, this was the one where you could place weights. I still have the weights. I never really enjoyed this mouse, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, it's the same thing as back then. Too heavy, too fat, and too heavy. It's not right for me. It just doesn't feel perfect, which is why I haven't really used this one a whole lot. I lend it to my boss so he can play games. I remember him being very appreciative of me giving him this one, and when he got another one, he gave this one back to me, even though he did pay for it. This one also has that kind of a cool scroll wheel, and you can also toggle it, again, the same mechanical way from here. Now the next one, this is legitimately a living legend. Yes, it still functions perfectly well. How many of you guys recognize this one? This is one of the gaming mice from Logitech before their whole Science Wins and Logitech G nonsense rebranding. This is a Logitech G9, and from my point of view, one of the best mouse shapes ever created. You could also change the entire backplate. You could make it a bit more slimmer and lighter. There's another backplate for this one. And also it had one of those cool scroll wheels. Even back in 2007 when I first got this one, but you need to change it from here. Beautiful, absolutely amazing mouse. Honestly, Logitech, I am surprised you have not created another version of the G9. This was insane. G500, another fantastic model. Beautiful, my wife used this one for a couple of years. Very nice. It also has a weight system on the bottom. And this is the Razer Diffatter Chroma variant. I used this one for about a year, and then I chucked it over to my wife, and she used it for about a year as well. Fun fact, I actually bought in 2007 the original version of the Diffatter, which broke in the first 24 hours. They replaced it with a new one, and that mouse is still working today. The one with the blue LED, you guys know the one. The first one is still working and being actively used by a family member. So thumbs up to that one. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, packaging. Starting with the Razer. So inside the box you get a little, well, it's a USB adapter. Yes, so you get from normal USB to USB Type-C. It's very deep. I like that. You got double-sided tape here. It's the cushiony kind. Yes, so you can place it somewhere if you want to. I don't use that. You get the same thing on the Logitech one. Let me see if I can get it out. Yes, this one doesn't have the double-sided tape. It's more budget. This one you can feel it. It's not as great of a quality, but that's not important. Also branded with Logitech G. You also get a cable inside. This is the cable. Yes, it's USB to USB-C. It's not a very long cable, and unfortunately, it's also a pretty poor quality cable if I am to compare it to the Razer. And this is my primary problem with the packaging. Razer offers you a nice braided cable, no tangles, no anything of the sort, nice quality cable, while Logitech gives you this, which is a whole lot more budget. There's even a filter on this one. I'm not sure if that's such a good idea, but hey, there you go. I love this one. This one is fantastic. This one, not so much. So if you want to use the mouse wired or charge it, when it comes to charging, you can use another cable or whatever else. But when it comes to legitimately using the mouse wired, obviously this is going to be a much better experience than this, because these cables, depending on the surface that they touch, can actually make a little bit of friction and drag. This is not good, Logitech. Step up your game. And I do believe that's it. The rest is essentially marketing mumbo jumbo and the regulatory information that you must have, warranty, stuff like this, peels, plastic peels, and that's pretty much it. Again, Razer wins out because the quality of their accessories is simply put better. And it's time to draw some conclusions. The best advice I can give you is that order a couple of mice that you are interested in. Don't just order the one that you think is going to be your Halo product, because that's what I did. I initially just ordered this one. When you're buying a mouse, which is an entirely personal experience, you can either go down to a store and feel them and try to use them for a while, but the smarter option is always to order a couple. Order 2, order 3, order 4, it doesn't matter. Try them in the comfort of your own home with your favorite games, and then simply return the ones that you do not want to keep. I was fully expecting this one to be my go-to because honestly, it looks better. It does look significantly better, subjectively speaking. The accessories are better. Honestly, the implementation is cool. It can also get some nice accessories for it, even though they are expensive. So this was my go-to. But after playing with it, I just simply do not enjoy the accuracy that I can pull out of this one. And this one simply feels better to me. It may not be the same way for you. It might be vice versa, or it might be a completely different mouse. Because I'll be honest, at the end of the day, right now, today, I'm still more comfortable with my Lance head, which is expected considering I've been using it for a whole lot of years. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. In case I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section. I will try to answer as best I can. As always, my name has been Laser. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. Keep in mind that I normally don't do hardware reviews or anything of the sort. So if you're expecting more, you're not gonna see much more. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.